So last week, within the span of just a few days, two things happened, Gretchen, that really knocked us offside a little bit. Number one, Friday night was all set up to do a Fable 5 Anthropic, Fable 5, Friday Fable 5 sprint. We had identified like 9 different use cases we're going to power through. It was going to be fueled by amazing coffee and great food. And then I got the text that the US government had shut it down globally. So, wah, wah, wah. My whole weekend plans, not that I actually have more of a life than doing Fable 5 sprints in general, but this one was going to be exciting about what we were going to accomplish. And within literally, an hour, it was like, okay, not only do we not have access to this model, it's not available globally. And what if we had had access the few days prior and built a bunch of stuff on it and were mid-project? The entire tech stack would have been at risk or like inaccessible at least, right? For goodness knows how long. This built then, and my little mind swirl at the time, on top of the news earlier in the week that Anthropic now posted their latest research report that 80% of Claude's code is written by Claude. So Claude's writing its own code, which is what they call recursive self-improvement, right? And so where's the human in that loop? Now, technically, you do have human perhaps reviewing the code. So we're not quite there in terms of no human in the loop. But two things happening within a short period of time as we're building an entire AI native tech stack with various different Premiere models linked to various different tools. But looking at how the models are improving themselves so quickly, where is the human capability that we're bringing to it? What is it creating on its own? And then what happens, what risk do we have if just instantaneously that whole tech stack or portions of it, right, are at risk? Gretchen, what was your kind of response?
Well, my brain went right to bananas.
Of course.
Yeah,
Anyone's would, really.
naturally, I thought, this reminds me of the bananas. This
Okay.
is a problem.
Tell us about bananas. Why?
History, the Cavendish banana is like genetically the number one banana that is around the globe, the bananas you pick up at your grocery. These are not the artisan bananas or plantains, but these are just regular bananas. And we're down to one banana. And I'm going to sing to you, yes, we have no bananas, but this particular type of banana, it's called the Cavendish banana. It is genetically almost identical around the world. It has to have humans do the hybridization for it. And if this banana gets a disease, it then will wipe out all of the bananas. And this is a huge concern for banana farmers. I mean, we joke about it, but we are down to literally one type of banana that we most of us consume. So this is that, it's sort of like that, monodiversity, what we're talking about. So I, of course, had some mental fun with the one banana joke about 80% of your code is written by yourself. So you're just sort of recycling your own ideas within itself. Yes, you might get some native ideas, but they're very much from the same source. This lack of diversity is something that long-term could be a real concern, right? And it's then you think of yourself, as you said, the tech stack that we're building at our corporation with our two entities. We are also then, if we are not diversified, we then monotech, and that puts us in also one banana situation. I think we should have multiple bananas. And this type of diversity that we're looking for it creates safety, because if one goes down, we are not stuck. Number two, the concern for me in this monodiversity that Anthropic is using is maybe in the near term, it won't make a difference, but long term, does this minimize innovation or create sameness, especially if a model is highly efficient? Because large language models and models in general are geared for efficiency. What are they set at? What is their North Star?
Right.
Efficiency, accuracy, not inventiveness, not novel ideas, not to create something new, but to create something good and bankable. What are your thoughts about my banana story?
Yes, we only have one banana. Yes, we have one banana, right? It's like, and how risky is that? I can't build a business on one banana. And it's also evidently a national security risk to
One
only.
banana, not a good idea.
No.
No.
I think we're entering a new era. We
Mm.
joke about the bananas, but we are entering a new era where national security is going to be an increasing interest in these premier models. The premier models are getting so good. And really, are we at artificial general intelligence? Has it superseded a certain level of human intelligence as measured by any number of the different ways that, people who are rating this and assessing this, whether it's the Turing test or other ways of assessing it? At what point do we then give away so much of our, not only the diversity, the ingenuity, but our power too, right? In terms of how we're creating our future. And so there's blind spots that any human brings to any kind of creativity. Would a model have blind spots that it then just continually like kind of reinforces in that looping?
I
Um,
have two examples of that I'd like to
yeah,
share that seem like small things, but
yeah,
actually uncover some code bias built in.
okay.
So I don't use the word terrible very often, but I use the word terrific a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to type terrific,
Yeah.
terrible comes up. That is a negative bias built into the model to provide the word that's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
The word that's always coming next is terrible, but that is not the word I wanted. That's the word programmed that's more for that particular programmer. Terrible was the word versus terrific. So that's
Maybe
one.
it's actually trying to balance your sunny disposition with
Terrific.
some
Yeah.
grounded realism. And it's like, really, we should autocorrect too terrible because
Too
you're not
terrible.
leading enough. No, but I mean, we joke, but like, and that's almost like when you think about when you're texting in an I hate autocorrect because you could end up sending something that's,
I have.
egregious or
Yeah.
laughable. I know you have because I've
Mm.
received some of them. Uh, they're not egregious, but they're funny. Um, and so, where does, the kind of diversity come in to be able to reflect and learn to modify? And then, how quickly is this happening? Like, this speed and the sameness are arriving at the same time. And
Well,
that's
and how will we know
scary.
if it's all the same if we're all getting it and we're now ourselves trained?
Right.
Like we're accepting the information that's being given to us at a higher degree of truth than, and this is a neurological bias that humans have to overtrust things that come from a machine
Right.
and undertrust what comes from a human. Whether they're right or wrong is sort of irrelevant. We over-index on trust when it comes out of a machine and under for humans. So when we know that about ourselves, we can have some constructive skepticism.
Mhm.
But if you don't know that about yourself, and you're getting all this output from models that have been sort of reiterating on themselves, how can you discern good from pretty
Yeah.
good? And then does pretty good slip to it'll do? And then does it'll do? It's all the same.
Yeah.
Where are we in that cycle? And having come from my entire career in healthcare,
Mm.
we always talk about naive patient populations that have not seen that particular drug or intervention for a disease. The same goes for training data
Mm-hmm.
for large language models. Even
Mm-hmm.
finding naive training data to train models, new models on
Yeah.
naive sets of data has become a problem.
Yeah.
So then it's training itself on pre-trained data. So it becomes very complex when you then iterate from your it's like getting high on your own supply, Leanne.
Yeah.
What Anthropic is doing?
Well, and here's the one thing I want to give Anthropic, and we're talking about Anthropic because of the news from Anthropic in these two areas, as well as how often we leverage it for a number of things in our own business. One thing I really give Anthropic credit for is the AI constitution that it wrote to kind of give the models a sense of what humans value, and they actually have a research team that is often, in some places you have both the commercial and the research team like kind of like integrated together. But in this case, I think there's a healthy tension built in between like what the models can kind of optimize for and then what the research team is helping think about for more of the humanity side. And I see that the Constitution was an attempt, is how I interpret it, is an attempt to look at what it takes for human life to flourish. Now, is that enough in the balancing act? Many people would argue perhaps not. And there's a lot of conversation on whether the AI constitution really was doing anything more than like a PR stunt. But let's say that it was actually an attempt to try to build in human meaning, human values, human flourishing. And in moments when the model then is learning it, like through its own loops, can it like take that in as a factor? Because I think this is one of the things that we're concerned about is, again, will it optimize not only for that mediocrity? Are we going to end up with, banana culture, right? Or do we create some diversity? I kind of want to ask Claude a little bit about this monoculture. What do you think about that? What if I
love
ask?
that idea. I love
Right,
that
so
idea. And I'm a Claudette, so
you are a Claudette, and we definitely, although we do diversify with our models, we're kind of model agnostic. Sorry, Claude.
we are because we cannot live on one banana.
No, exactly. We got a fruit salad going here. Okay, so let me ask. Hold on here. Let's say. Okay, hold on. All right, Claude. We understand that you now write most of your own code, 80% of your own code. So I want to ask you something. If you only ever learn from yourself, where does anything genuinely new come from? Now, that might be an overstatement, but how do you keep from becoming a Cavendish banana, a clone of a clone, so to speak, the same fruit right up until, the day that the kind of mediocrity takes over? How do you protect against monoculture, mediocrity? Okay, hold on. All right. So let's see what it says here. Read it up here. So there's a documented failure mode called model collapse. When the model trains mostly on what models like it have already produced, the rare and surprising fade first. What is left is more average, more confident, less able to invent. That's what Gretchen said. This is the Cavendish exactly. An optimizer can improve towards a goal, but it cannot hand itself a better goal. Variance has to come from outside the loop. You protect against monoculture by refusing to let the thing that optimize also be the only thing deciding what is worth optimizing for. The part that stays yours. It was never mine to take. Okay. What do you think about that?
Well, I appreciate that this particular Claude model, validates what we're thinking, which is there needs to be outside ideas flourishing. And if we're going to stick with the fruit salad, like bees and hummingbirds coming in and pollinating this work was something ingenious and special. And that's what humans bring, I think. And so we're not battling against, but working with and having that co-creation. But, can you go for more than 80% of writing your own code without that type of, sort of monoculture collapse where you end up then just having an average or a so-so product? And what this reminds us of is the bigger picture of how diversity serves us.
Yes.
And whether it's not having the same, tech stack all the way across your enterprise,
Right.
it's not getting the same opinion from the people that you like to get that opinion from
Right.
because they're in your corner, or the model that you use, or accepting what you get because it sounds so nice and real and well organized, but you're mindful that your brain accepts that at a higher rate than if it, came in another form. So it is just to be reminded that diversity creates strength and impact and gives us what we really need, which is new, fresh ideas. What do you think?
Diversity is always one of the best strategies, whether it's financial diversity, diversifying your risk, whether it's model diversity, like we were talking about, or any of the other factors that you just described. It's insurance, but it's never guaranteed. And so you have to be really, really intentional about it. And our Monday morning meeting was exactly on diversifying our risks in models, as well as diversifying we do a whole human AI collaboration process when we're helping leaders get clear in the midst of ambiguity, then find their congruence with what would be of true value to not just efficiency and results, but flourishing. How do we then courageously call the question? But the co-creation part is the last piece where I think we double down and we're like, in our design, we better make sure that we are reinforcing where that diversity of human ingenuity with requesting the diversity of machine intelligence can collaborate together to generate even more extraordinary output. But it's got to be intentional by design, because if we don't design it in, the monoculture banana will take it over.
I mean, the Cavendish is it's a yummy banana, but it's only one. And if we lose this and we lose sight of keeping that diversity because it's the easy way,
yeah,
it's also the risky way. So I think, de-risking both your, corporate work, your personal work, your, as you said, financials. I mean, this is a message that's that applies to every part of our lives, Lan. And I think you gave really good examples. So, we need more than one banana. And we've had fun with it. So thank you to Anthropic for such good material this week.
Absolutely. So we hope that you're diversifying and thinking about the diversity, not only in your own tech stack, if you're a business owner, in your diversity of model usage, if you're just a leader in a larger organization, if you're a family member, diversifying in the fruit salad in general. But we also hope that this gives you cause to pause to think about the diversity of thought that you're bringing into any of your endeavors, how you do that on the human side first, and then the AI side. We'd love to learn what you're doing. Fable 5 was just a real wake-up call on many different levels. It'll be interesting to see what comes in weeks to come. And when it does get released, re-released in a new form, what's going on with that. So more to come, guys. But thanks, Gretchen, for the banana facts, as well as the good dialogue. So,
right. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for spending this time with us. If something landed, sit with it. That pause is actually where the real work happens. And if you're navigating this shift at your organization and you'd like to bring this conversation inside your walls, go ahead and find us at deeplyhumanleading.com. If today's episode landed with you, share it with somebody that you think could really use it. The ripple starts there. Until next time, stay curious and stay human.